game number 1. It is time to find out what Hanwha really believes are the best picks. There's going to be no more fooling around when you're going up against TES.
And as you point out, Hanwha definitely have taken a lot of liberties in draft. However, this team known for, in Game 1 in the best of 5, being extremely reliable. Their win rate absolutely bonkers, only rivaled by...
Game 1 and Game 5,
Game 1 and Game 5, but guess what, TES?
Those next 3 games, they're up for grabs.
Those are the ones that also domestically, a lot of free ones finishes for them, including in the finals. But interestingly enough, while I think Hanwha is obviously going to pull back in draft, for me, with TES, it's all about the gameplay. I think their reads haven't been great. There have been things like the cannon that just clearly didn't really work out. But there's been a lot of drafts where you go in and you're like, TES, there's plenty of opportunities. Yeah. Jackie Love, at first it was dying to ganks, and then just straight up getting diffed in the 2v2.
Game as well, I think, overextending. Yeah. And it does feel like sometimes when things start going bad, the players are pushing a little bit too hard. They're trying to force something, trying to make something happen, and it's not always working out. But it is comfort here as Cream is going to be able to get the Yone paired with that Sejuani. That is a powerful duo. But of course, Zeus on the Rumble, one of the most highly prized picks these days, has been mostly just sitting on the ban list all the time. Yeah. But it is going to be let through, and we'll see what 369 is cooking, because Zeus has just looked like he is on a completely different planet than every other top laner here at the tournament.
Hasn't been particularly close, and that is taking into account the picks that were found as well. I do really like the opening here from TES. Obviously, Yone Sejuani is a 2-man duo, is quite strong. Also picks away not just Zeka's Yone, it's a comfort pick for Cream, and specifically the combo of that Yone Rumble I think is so hard to play into if you have any type of stationary threat on your team. The Wukong actually coming out a lot earlier than I was expecting. The big pick for me that is still open here, that I was actually kind of thinking that it would go towards, would be the Maokai, which is also one of Peanut's best champions, as the Ezreal lock-in should come as no surprise.
I mean, you're already looking at a lot of powerful dive here. Wukong going in, the Equalizer comes over the top, the True Shot Barrage comes over the top. So for TES, you are thinking, hey, you need to have one of those safer AD carries down in the bot lane for Jackie Love, who has been the victim of a lot of pressure in this tournament. It is going to be Jace as the answer here for 369 up in that top lane, but yeah, 369, another guy that I've been really kind of surprised by his level of performance. Yes, I do look at Zeus as the best top laner in the world. In fact, I look at him as the best top laner of all time. And it's not always the case that someone is the best all time and the current best, which is kind of unique and amazing to watch. But 369, I've always seen as one of the very best top laners as well. And this tournament, he has just not really had much of an impact.
No. Obviously, this was one of the big matchups 2023. That MSI was a complete banger, and 369, at that point, I think by a very clear margin, best tank player in the world. The amount of space that he was able to create together with Knight, something that his team heavily relied on when he was on JDG. And I am wondering what the AD carry is going to be here. I was kind of wondering whether they were still going to ban the Ashe, which is the next in prior, right? Ashe, Kalista, Varus is the big three. But playing Ashe can be quite tough. I think it's because of lane swaps being eliminated. The lane matchup can always be rough for the Ezreal. The other one that I'm looking towards is the Corki, not because I think Corki is necessarily that crazy as an AD carry, but just the safety to play into the Wukong. Wukong in particular, post 6 can be really tough to reliably play into, as a lot of the champions from Zeka being taken away, no surprise there. The other one that you'd look towards is something like the Azir, but Yone has been picked off and into the Azir because it's so hard to actually shut him down. As the Kaisa gets taken away, which was Sejuani Yone, I think makes a lot of sense.
I mean, they really are trying to pinch Jackie Love here. Obviously, we see on TES, they banned out the Varus. It's triple ban plus the takeaway of the Ezreal, so you are being pushed down quite a bit, and it is going to be the MF, which there's a lot of debate about the power of this pick. It has a strong laning phase. You can really dominate mid-prio on one item. Once you complete the BT, you can move around the map well. You can always be winning these trades, getting pushed there to have that first move to objectives. So there is a lot of power there, but without some pretty incredible setup, it can be very difficult to get that full channel bullet time that you kind of require to have a successful team fight. And I was just going to say, things like Alistar, which are so powerful for Delight, this is his most iconic pick. Now you always have to be waiting out. Like, he has to spend his combo. Wukong has to use his abilities before he can even try to go for that ultimate.
Yeah, this is as comfort as it gets. The only one, the Wukong, is a little bit lower on the prior list. But outside of that, every single one of these champions, I think Hanwha is going to be very happy with. And the power of MF is one that always in theory I think sounds really good because you're a big lane bully, right? It can be hard to shut down. You have in theoretical situations a lot of team fighting power. You're able to, as you point out, generate prio easily, which makes it easy to play for objectives. But in practice, and particularly with how Jackie has performed thus far, a stationary AD carry into Rumble, into the Azir, into the Wukong
into Delight Alistar.
Yeah. That is rough.
And you have to say Delight Alistar because it's not just Alistar.
It's not just any Alistar.
It's Delight Alistar.
And Delight originally made his name on Rakan, and I think that was the champion that he was synonymous with for years until it became his Alistar, which I think, because I remember seeing a piece of content from Hanwha, was on a 22-win streak.
That's
and
insane.
Then Peanut picked Shyvana, and Delight let him know it, that he did not appreciate that. And on one hand, Hanwha Life, again, I think even coming into the tournament was favorites. For TES, though, we need to see a return to form. I want to see the TES that people have been able to see domestically, that even our very own analyst space right now just keeps holding on to. You know it's there. We just need to see it. And after we already got 5 games for the first series,
why not go for 10?
We got to commit.
A nice even number.
Yeah, just 10 games in a row. Let's do it.
Let's do it. We are locked in here. First and second semi-final. HLE versus TES. If you're just tuning in now, you didn't hear me wrong. It's not the finals. It is the semi-finals. TES coming in as that number 4 seed here, looking to knock down HLE at home. But my, oh my, is that going to be a tough task. HLE has just looked unstoppable.
And chance setting low Parker Light. The Jace, I do actually want to highlight one of the cool things about Fearless is I do think Rumble is just kind of unfair in that, particularly when you're good enough at the pick, he just wins anything, has incredible pressure towards the top side. But there are very specific counter picks we've seen sometimes work out. Things like Galileo come to mind, but it does feel like it is one of those champions where if the player is adept enough at piloting it, you can get away with anything.
If the player is Ace.
That also, well, I mean, that is just kind of unfair in general with how he's been playing recently. But actually picking away the Jace, which in of itself is a great, extremely strong pick right now, and 369 has also played a decent amount of games on it as well. It's also a pick away for the future of the series, right? Because it frees up a possible ban, because Hanwha Life 100% was going to prioritize that as Cream.
Is just going to get headbutt backwards there. They will be able to clear out the wards. Zeka's going to be able to grab that. And we do have a leash, a rare leash, as you pretty much never see these this day. As Kanavi going to get a little bit of help there on the blue buff while Peanut is over on the Raptors. And of course they have that information thanks to Cream stepping forward. And we'll see what Kanavi wants to do with it.
We do have both junglers pathing towards the top side of the map. Obviously Sejuani, particularly towards the top side, has quite good gank pressure. Peanut just wants to power from to 6 as soon as possible. And yeah, I was about to say, I feel like Jackie Love and Crisp felt like they could get away with leashing because Alistar level 1 is a known quantity, known as in it's quite bad. Champion just doesn't really have any pressure, and we do see Tim take prio of the wave early on.
Yep, and 369 going to try to deny some of this experience. We'll see if Zeus can actually get in range for that one melee. I'm not quite sure if he did grab it or not, but would have been right on that very edge. Cream not quite able to hit with the Q3 there onto Zeka. It's fun seeing these two players on kind of two champions that are so well associated with them.
Yeah.
And I've just loved kind of the story for these two players. Of course, Zeka came in, won a world championship. He really was looked at as the melee guy, but he has become such a more well-rounded player.
Yeah.
And I think Cream is kind of going through a similar journey where he is trying to expand out from that same sort of reputation. And given his run in the LPL, really was able to do that. Took down some of the most legendary mid laners of all time. Beat Rookie, Scout, Knight, and Doinby just to make it to the finals.
It's a good lineup.
Not a bad lineup at all.
And this is going to be the recurring theme for TES, right? And that's not the Cream that we've seen here at the tournament thus far. Even on champions that I think he has excelled at, hasn't looked that convincing as Kanavi. Again, the Sejuani actually does have early gank pressure. Zeus has been known to overstep sometimes in the early lane. The lane is pushing into him, so should feel safe. We'll see if they want to go for the dive. Obviously, it's a bit more high risk, and I think making the right call.
Yeah.
Because again, they know Peanut's in the area, right? They spotted him early on. But with that prio, should mean that Kanavi, at the very least, is going to get this top crap, although Peanut is feeling cheeky.
He has no smite, so both of them don't necessarily know this, but it is going to be a scrap up here on that top side. And of course, Peanut may win out in the extended fight, but Cream is coming over here. We'll see if they're going to be able to get full control. Yeah, Alistar is moving up. Rakan is coming up here as well from Chris, but he is very far behind the play, and Kanavi will be able to escort that crab up towards the top side. And Delight going to be flashing in. Cream going to be in some trouble here. Can he even find a way out? Looks like he's just going to hold the flash. First blood for Peanut. You get the crab, but we get the cream.
And Delight,
369 going in. Zeus is just trying to take him down. Kanavi flashing forward. Zeus may have been off more than he can chew. Kanavi takes him out. 369 doesn't even have to flash. It is bloody.
It's an immediate win for Humble Eye, followed up by a big win for TES. Not only does Zeus die, but he gives up the flash as well. As this was beautifully done by Delight. I think they had a suspicion, but he actually wasn't seen because there was no wave in mid. So he's able to get behind Cream and take him out. But Zeus, you knew the Sejuani was there. As Delight canceled his back.
Flash forced as well. So he stayed up there and was able to flash, get that flash forced from 369, who didn't use it in that earlier exchange.
Yeah, I imagine he was, because he was channeling back, right? Well, yeah, and then he saw the TP being channeled. Was like, I can get a summoner here. Still though, 369 getting the early assist, and Kanavi picking up the early kill is nice, because otherwise Humble Life I think would have gotten a gold lead here. But now basically equal, and that's what we like to see.
But fantastic impact from Delight. I mean, he gets up there, gets them first blood, forces the flash, you know, when your top laner is in a disadvantageous position. And really, Viper didn't fall behind very much at all. I mean, no, he was kind of in that 1v2 for a little bit of time. Of course, Chris tried to match the initial roam, but then was late. But Rakan, you know, not really able to put that much pressure on. Chris trying to get up here now. Remember, no flash on Zeus.
That's the big thing.
And if he steps too far forward, they definitely could look for it. Chris does have the flash, and Zeus has got to be careful. They're going to go for it. Going forward, get the slow down. Knockup does connect. Zeus tries to backstab it, but Kanavi's here as well. And he's dead. He's just trying to take the wave with him before he goes. They'll donate the kill to 369, and he is off to a great start in this one.
And Zeus getting put forcefully behind here by continued attention from TES. Crisp says what Delight can do, I can do better. Actually gets the kill onto the Rumble there. As you point out, very nicely done. Get the slow. Basically no ability to get out, as we do have the smites available here. Kanavi got that one.
Well, that is big. Kanavi's able to grab that one. Peanut still has his smite, though, so he should be able to steal away one. Zeka moving over. You can see MF sitting mid lane. May want to get involved here as well. 369 going to go for the base, so it is just going to be given over here to Peanut. Zeus is back, and they don't want to ruin their tempo. You can see Cream was sent down towards bot lane. Jackie Love moved mid, I think likely to try to play for those grubs, but they weren't really able to control the area.
As Delight, I think, did catch Crisp on the edge there. And we are just going to see continued attention towards the top side of the map. It has worked out much better for TES thus far, as Kanavi is back in the lane, and that ward, Peanut does spot it, otherwise could have been a big trap, but they don't know about...
still here.
Yeah, they don't know about Delight, but they do know he's not on the map, hasn't shown in a while.
Yeah, the Equalizer are going to get dropped here, and 369 just taking the fight because Kanavi is here first. Is he going to commit to the play? Doesn't fully go for it. Peanut was spotted on the ward, so they know multiple members are around. Jackie Love has to flash out. Lets the bullet time rip. Chunks down Zeka, but in comes Crisp. Kanavi could look here. Zeus still has no flash. 369 could go hammer for him. Delight maybe just sacrificing his life here to make sure Zeus gets out. He's going to give over another one. It's another kill there as Jackie Love gets taken down mid. This one is scrappy. The action is just blasting off across the map.
Mayhem here in the first game. Cream, the only one that just happy, unbothered, in his lane, farming it up. And the fact that Jackie goes down, it really does kind of feel like, because again, it's one of the situations where the play towards topside is working out so well with walking up. Particularly, this is an Azir. You're MF. You don't have a way to get out of that ultimate if he does go for you, and this has been a continued issue for Jackie Love. As he then walks towards the brush, and Peanut gets the freest kill of his life, and Wukong is one of those champions where the early kills can really accelerate you, and that alone in isolation feels rough, but it's also the topside plays have been working out so well for TES.
Exactly, right? You know, you just have to be able to give that respect over. You don't need to be the one to make the play. Things are working out great on the top side. You have this a big advantage up in top lane. He could just be chilling and farming. If they try to put on pressure and you have the ulti under your own tower, you can just clear out a wave. You don't need to interact, but wanted to get more, and then even after losing a flash, it felt like he was trying to double down, right? He's saying, well, I already lost my flash, but maybe I can actually find the Azir here and ruin his tempo. Kanavi maybe threatening. Cream does have that Q3. Oh, they're going to nail it. The combo is there. The soul unbound. The fate is sealed. But Zeka slides out to safety. Just barely has enough in the tank to live through the damage.
Absorbs that. I think they thought they had him cleanly done there by TES. Ultimate's invested. They will still get the flash. It's still a big win because, as we pointed out, Jackie doesn't have a flash. So especially if Zeka does have his available, Jackie basically can't go anywhere in a team fight that might come through. Not going to be the case. But TES here in the first game looking a lot more like what we were expecting coming in. I haven't seen... I'm looking forward towards a Dragon fight where we actually get to see a possible 5v5 or 4v4, because thus far there have always been at least a member or two that haven't been part of the action. As we do have still these bot lanes towards the top side of the map. Grubs are coming up in about a minute. Support ults are going to be available soon as well.
Oh, Cream going to be able to snap back, will survive. Power shot does connect, of course, a bit delayed, but knocks him down quite low. Has a teleport available, likely just going to try to take this next wave, then base. 369 does have an advantage here over in that side lane, thanks to a lot of the help from Kanavi, playing well around that top side. And we'll see if he can try to push this advantage, but they haven't had eyes, I think, on Wukong in quite some time. So 369, playing respectfully to the fact that Peanut could potentially be around. I think we're just looking towards a Grubs fight here, Chronicler.
Do see Peanut, Triforce now done. 2-0, that's exactly the type of thing we're talking about. That is an insane spike for any bruiser. For a Wukong, in the longer fights, can get crazy value out of that, and he scales so insanely well, particularly in the team fights. Peanut should be able to pick this one up. We'll see if he has to invest his smite. Doesn't look like he does. As a reminder, last time Kanavi got one of the Grubs, did steal that one away with his smite, and I could see a similar trade because Prio is there, so Cream first to the play, and you have to respect this this duo threat that comes through from TES.
And we'll see if they can get a second, because if they can deny the 4, but Peanut's going to go in aggressively, and Kanavi is the target. Delight is here as well. The Ignite's down on him, and now Zeka has arrived, but Fate is sealed, and here's the bullet time over the top, but Delight tanky enough to survive. They're going back on Cream, and Cream gets pushed out. Very low on health, but now the teleport is here, and the Equalizer will make the fight uneven. It's Zeus in the backline, it's HLE running over him, and Jackie Love has nowhere to go. He'll stand, he'll fight, he'll fall. And Zeus going for more, flashing away from the hammer form smash, but it's a 5v1, and 369 is all alone. He's got nowhere to go. HLE just deciding who's gonna take it, and of course it's Peanut. 3-0-3 on the Wukong. This man is on a mission to dominate game number 1.
And last time, this took like 25 minutes, but now TES early commit. So much damage gets thrown down on Peanut and the Alistair. But they don't care, right? Peanut is slippery enough. Delight with his ultimate just doesn't take that much damage, and then the curtain gets rolled out for another Hanwha Live teamfight win. And while the laning phase was a marked improvement, this fight, I don't think TES were bargaining for all that. Maybe caught off guard, but they knew the bot lane, or the top lane prior, rather, bot lane rotated over way earlier. And then everything kind of follows from that. The Rumble, obviously, in these type of fights, even though he arrived a little bit later, still gets the value, and that is now a 3K gold lead. Yeah, Dragon will go over, but it's still, I think, TES, look at that.
Yeah, this is going to get difficult, and Peanut is coming up here. We'll see if Cream can just walk it out. It is going to be pretty careful, and it's just going to back it all the way up. I mean, the initial play from TES, you're saying, oh, you're going to full channel bolt time, but then you realize the targets on which it is on, it's mostly Delight, and it's Peanut who's able to clone out to safety. He's relatively tanky early on in this game, and now Peanut 3-0-3 is accelerated massively. Hasn't even gone back to base since that fight, so he's going to have a ton more gold to spend. Cream may be able to hold here on this wave, but this tower is sure to fall pretty soon. And Delight and Zeka laying a trap for 369. Gonna try to punish him again, but he does get vision. Is the Hex Flash coming out? Delight gonna be in onto 369. Nice knockback, but Zeka is chasing. Looks like he'll be able to walk this one off. Just barely stays safe.
Big thing there was no vision in the red side jungle, so didn't want to further commit to that with the risk of getting collapsed upon. And for TES, there is still a lot of power in this composition. I think particularly their ability to single out a target with that CCDF available between Kanavi, Cream, and Crisp. They can blow up a target in very swift fashion. Yeah. But one of the issues that we do have is, outside of Zeus, target selection is much easier said than done. Like you say, Sichen actually needs to be clean because Zeka obviously can swoop away. Peanut has his clone. And then Viper is Ezreal, self-explanatory. And then the final target, engaging on an Alistar, is always going to kind of feel like a nightmare. So we'll have to see how TES can
engaging on an Alistar is usually the FF vote.
Yeah, that's the same as engaging on Maokai. You know, it's like, well, we gotta pull this one.
This one's done here. Let's go for an engage on Alistar and head on to game 2. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, they are really in a difficult spot now after that decisive teamfight win on the top side. I mean, really, TES comp kind of goes one way. They want to go in. They can play through sides, though, and clearly that was the plan here with the Yone and the Jace, so maybe slow things down, see if they can continue getting some picks as they were able to earlier on. But Zeus, is right back into this game and going to be continually pressing up. Cream just wants to hold on to this tower, delay it as much as they possibly can, and see if they can still get the feats for themselves.
Yeah, neither Zeus nor Cream have their first item done yet. With Leandris, Zeus will do a lot more.
Peanut face check, gonna get CC'd up here, but they don't have the damage. They know that the rest of HLE is around, pushing up through bot. And while they've been defending this top tower, it might actually be the bot one that could be going down here. Chris does have the ulti available. Is he gonna look for an engage? Jackie moving in, they can't quite find him. Kanavi poking away, but they won't commit to it. They're just desperately trying to keep this first tower alive here, not wanting to give over that first brick.
It's also, if they do get it, TES that is, as opposed to Hanwha, they get the feats, right? Will be a big win for them. As we do take a look at the Mastercard lane economy snapshot, it's particularly the jungle AD carry that I think is the roughest here, and the Peanut one feels earned. The Viper one, Viper has just been kind of living his best life, moving around the map, picking up waves, and then in that big team fight was able to pick up a lot of exit kills, just unmatched as the Ezreal. And this priority on the MF, I think we were kind of skeptical coming in.
Yeah.
Domestically, we've seen it work, but thus far hasn't been able to make the impact just yet. And that's the type of wombo combo that now we're talking about, right? You need like to have Cream, layer a big ult, or Crisp set up, Jackie to go in huge. Otherwise, Hanwha, I think, are on the verge of just completely breaking the game. Like right now, I think Hanwha is obviously in a great position.
Yeah.
Team fighting is really strong.
One more team fight loss.
One more, and it's actually, you're going to have to rely on Hanwha making some colossal mistakes, towards Otacon, towards Baron. And the spikes right now, Nasher's done, almost 2 items.
Cream in trouble, going to get swept back here. Peanut is there as well. He's going to be able to go for the Fate is Sealed back to Crisp. He does survive now going in. Peanut, nice interrupt on the engage there from Crisp as he gets knocked up by the Cyclone. Easily deflecting that engage with just the cost of his ulti, but Zeka pushing on top side. That tower's incredibly low. They're looking for Peanut, but the clone is gonna eat it. Jackie Love coming up, and now Delight is behind him. Peanut flashing over the wall. The bullet time not gonna be enough. Kanavi trying to finish him off. On the other side, Cream trying to heal back up. Jackie is dead already, and Zeka is behind 369. It's not your side of the map any longer. It's a double for Viper, and it just gets worse for TES as they are set packing.
They get Peanut! The Trickster dies, but at what cost? So much has to be given up. Jackie just gets taken down again. 369, unable to do the damage.
Cream, Delight connects, and he's going to be going for the kill. Zeus is just cooking him alive. Cream couldn't get out. Delight, another masterclass on this Alistar. 0, 1, and 9. He has been everywhere this game for HLE, as you already knew he was going to be as soon as he locked it in. As
we take a look here, this initial trade, I don't think actually feels too bad. Even though Cream doesn't have TP, 2 ultimates are invested, right? Peanut uses the Cyclone to cancel.
The overchase just kills me, though, when Jackie knows Zeka is above you and he goes that far into the river.
The moment you ult the clone, just let it go.
Take the L.
And instead, they overchase. Yes, eventually they kill Peanut, but the position that Jackie Love is in is, even with his flash, like even if he flashes, he just always dies there. The collapse comes through. Zeus joins again just at the right time. And Hanwha Life, that's the fight that we were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, not only does Jackie die there and the rest of them die, but by giving up the position in Tribrush, you sell out 369. He has nowhere to actually go, so he's just kind of given over as another freebie on top. They get first power on the top side. They're going to be grabbing this dragon here as well. Crisp in the area. Cream just trying to play through sides again, but the gold lead extending even further now. It's 4K in the advantage for HLE.
Interesting to note as well that Hanwha didn't actually go for the Rift Herald, but instead just pushed mid. So just immediately sent both the Azir and the Ezreal towards there, got that. And to be fair, I think with how the teamfights have been playing out, they're going to be very happy to take that fight again later on. We did see the Dragon get taken as well. We'll be dealing with a Hextech Soul, which We are only 18 minutes in, but that's what we're talking about now. That's
Are we flipping? Is it that level of desperation? We'll see. They're considering, but they are going to back off. Looks like it is more just for the coverage
Peanut
play.
shopping.
But even if they hit him, Cream is too far away at this point. So I think if you were going to go, you would have had to. But they're moving Jackie down, so they were clearly considering that there could be some sort of fight down there. They've already lost the mid-tier 1, the top-tier 1. They're going to be giving over that Herald as well. So still investing in this play. They feel like they need to get something down here at this point, but it's kind of the sunk cost fallacy because HLE are happily playing on the top side. And at this point, you haven't seen them in so long that you have to be suspicious.
Yeah, and we see how Life is going to back off. They're getting the Herald on the other end of the map. Zeus started one off. By the way, Zeus, who got shot down mercilessly. So much attention was paid towards the top side. He's completely fine.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And Zeka and Delight, the combo is perfect. Can they actually chase after him? Zeka took about as good as he gave, so wasn't confident to actually slide in there against Cream, who still had the ulti available. But again, nicely played. Crisp going to get pushed down to that top side as Peanut just controlling vision, working quickly towards that second item. And we were talking about this while we were watching the previous series. Wukong gets to a quick 2 items. That is just so tough to deal with in a team fight. And now the equalizer going to get dropped here from Zeus. Will he actually commit the flash forward to try to go for Cream? Cream was trying to walk around, but it is a bait. Then comes the TP though. Zeka, can he arrive in time? Solo bound going forward. They're going to try to burst them down. They are going to get Zeus, and it's a shutdown. But we'll see. Zeka, is he going to be able to back off? Summons the turret. It looks like Cream doesn't want any more. Zeka will survive, but it's a big shutdown. Finally, Cream gets a kill. And it's going to be rewarded pretty heavily. Viper hit him with the True Shot Barrage, but not enough to finish it off. And TES have got to be happy about that.
Yeah, not sure what Life was thinking there, Zeus, because either you TP earlier if you know Kanavi's there, because they knew he was on the bottom side of the map, right? They spotted him earlier in the jungle. So either you got to TP him in earlier. I think Zeus just went in way too early.
Just look at solo.
Yeah, look at the timing there. The back doesn't actually fully finish until he's already in the thick of it. They do have enough burst to take him down. Cream doesn't go, actually gets taken down. Nicely done by him, picks up a good amount of gold, and now that gold lead, it is remaining within a manageable distance. Still, item spikes for Hanwha Life. I think we still have Zeka very far ahead, sitting on 2 items.
Don't look at Viper.
Yeah, okay. Well,
that's a problem.
That is a problem, yeah. And one of the things with the Jace is that even when Jace was, and he has been on and off, right, one of the strongest top laners in the game, things like the Wukong and the Malphite always have been good into him because they can bridge the gap, right? They have multiple gap closes or away in case of Malphite, just get on top of him immediately. So now Peanut is actually sitting on those 2 items very early on, has an incredible amount of power, and we're going to have to see TES.
Something to Herald. They want to commit towards this tier 2, and it is already chunked down quite a lot. Viper going to be the one to drive it in. Is this going to be going a bit too far? As TES are all here, we'll see if they can actually find an angle to force a fight. Doesn't look like it. They get the kill in the tier 2, and Hanwha just want to back off. Zeus playing down around that mid lane, and it's going to be nothing more.
This is big spikes across the board, right? Like everyone besides Chris actually hitting the 2-item spike just at that point. We have the Mana transformation as well. And Hanwha Life, they don't know exactly where they're, but there's so much vision that they know roughly the area that they're going to be in. And Otacon bait maybe being set up here, but the next dragon is spawning as well.
There's also a pretty good ward from TES that's just kind of above the Otacon that should be able to get a vision on it, not spotted by that pink. That was placed. A pretty clever placement there from TES, whoever was able to drop that. And they're going to move forward and try to clear out some of this vision. They're trying to buy time for Cream in the side lane, who has the 2-item spike you talked about. Berserker Greaves in there as well. Cream pretty powerful at this point. And in an extended side lane situation, the additional sustain that he has compared to Zeus, compared to Zeka, you can constantly just chip and poke and prod and win out in those extended fights. It does kind of mean Zeus and Zeka are relegated to just kind of clearing the wave and ignoring the PvP.
We'll see what teams are going to prioritize now as the Third Dragon does spawn. Hextech, as mentioned, insanely strong for really any composition, particularly if you have a decent amount of poke. I think Hanwha going to feel very good if you're able to proc that with your Ezreal or with your Azir. But this fight might either bring TES back to parity or have Hanwha completely break the game.
Yeah, the clone back there from Peanut. They're going to look on Delight. It was a True Shot Barrage earlier on to Jackie, but he has the BT. He's just healing it right back up. You can see Crisp took the Hex Gate. He's actually looking for a threat on this flank. Of course, Hanwha are aware of it, so they retreat back towards mid lane. 369 playing on the side, looking for Shock Blast as TES has eyes on the Dragon. Peanut knows where Crisp is, but is Crisp too far away? Peanut going to go forward, and the red team grabs it. TES do get it, and they are going to look to back off here. Not much of an answer for HLE. They couldn't find the angle to fight. It was great positioning from Crisp that I think really dissuaded them from committing.
Nicely done there by Crisp, drawing the attention. And respectful play there from TES. Good setup on the initial objective, forcing Hanwha Life to either fully commit, which, given the positioning that they found Kanavi, they don't really want to do it right. Hanwha Life could have popped the cooldowns, but not looking like the best fight angle. And the poke actually being pretty meaningful there.
And I think because Hanwha aren't yet on 3 items for a lot of these people that have the gold lead, it's not a bad idea to not force there. If you see a great opportunity, sure, go for it. But Ezreal's going to be on 3 before MF is. And you have these gold advantages. You can play towards that. So, when we see Shojin and whatnot completed, maybe they then look to fight a little bit more aggressively. And now Viper has it. So with that 3rd item coming through, he has a pretty massive spike. You can see Zeka as well sitting on the Seekers. And that 2.5 is going to mean a lot if he can use it properly in these fights.
And with that Drake being picked up early on, that is a possible way. I do think that there are parts of the TS comp that skill very nice. Obviously, Yone in a side lane comes to mind. I think even the Jace, as you highlighted, definitely a big threat there. As Peanut just says, thank you for the leash on that Crad.
They're just kind of battling, but now he's in trouble as Zeus is going to come in, let the Equalizer go down. Cream may have to flash, and he does. Goes back over the wall. True Shot Barrage will not connect. Will Delight look for it. He's threatening. He's flashing. Viper goes in, but he can't actually connect, and the Bullet Time's coming over the top. Delight, the one in trouble now. Cream tries to go in, but he has to snap back to safety as Peanut is threatening to take him down. 369 pushing on the other side of the map. Again, they find the Bullet Time, but it's not on the key targets. It's just on Delight. Still, I think you have to be pretty happy about getting Cream out and having 369 pushing on the other side.
TES, Hanwha Life, they keep looking for that knockout punch, but they're not finding it.
And it's actually key to note, Viper flashed to try to follow up. It wasn't just Delight trading his flash out there. So yes, you forced the flash from Cream, but it was double flashes to try to punish that, to try to get that kill. And that is quite expensive. It does open up potential opportunity to maybe get a kill on Viper, maybe take that big shutdown away and start pulling the game back in your favor.
One of the big things with the Ezreal is that you have the one flash on a very low cooldown, but we have seen Ezreals actually get caught in a position where just having access to one is not enough, and the dive for TES is actually very threatening.
Rakana is always dangerous.
Not only that, right, if Cream can find an off angle, we've seen even 369, I think, posturing pretty aggressively as, look at this, TES just keep Cream in that side lane, and Hanwha Life say, you got a TP or we're taking this Otacon.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to try to force the issue right here, right now. They are on the Otacon. We don't know exactly how low it is. TES trying to get in, but it's going to be difficult to go through this corridor, and it looks like the Otacon is just gone. They're going to be able to claim it, and now taking all the flowers here. Cream TPs now. This is so late. And he is going to have to just Q3 back over. So that is kind of the worst of both worlds. He didn't even push up and get anything bot side. They TP, but they TP way too late. And now they're going to try to look to force here onto Zeus. They're committing everything and throwing the kitchen sink. They are going to be able to take him down. Jackie Love gets the kill. Delight potentially in trouble as well. We can see the TP does now arrive. 369 is here. Zek is going forward. And it's Peanut going in, knocking down Cream, crushing him with the 2-item spike. Will just be the 1-for-1 at the end of the day. This is definitely getting scrappy, but HLE feeling so happy about that. You can see the experience advantages really starting to show themselves.
Otacon is the big thing there because this trade doesn't actually look that great. Nicely done there by TES. This is the single target selection that we talked about. They take down Zeus. Doesn't get his ultimate off, by the way. If he does, this fight could look completely different. Just the burn alone could have meant Kanavi died. It could have been a Baron angle. And Peanut also uses his flash there. So you trade teleports evenly. Peanut's flash, I think, is actually a big deal on the Wukong because it allows him to play way more aggressive. If the Otacon wasn't taken by Hanwha Life, I think they would be feeling a lot worse about that.
On a phase. This is fully spotted. They're just going to try to force the issue. The Hex Gates are going to help them to get out a lot faster. Kanavi has Smite, has Flash. Will they go in for it? Delight going to be over the wall here. Does take some chunk though, but it's going to be Zeka into the back line. It's the equalizer across them all. This fight does not look close. It's HLE running over TES. It's HLE looking for more. Viper now on an angle, flashed in though is 369. It's going to be Cream trying to make something happen. Can he knock him down? He can't. It's going to be Viper dominating the game. Zay is chasing for more. It's a clean ace. It is HLE dominating game number 1 and potentially looking to end the game.
How do they do this 3 games in a row? That's the third one. At first, the Baron gets started up, and you're wondering, Hololive, are you sure about that? And then Zeka goes in for the sweep, and somehow, in a game where it felt like TS at the very least was able to maintain some level of parity, a clean ace, and Hanwha keep that game 1 win percentage nice and high.
HLE end game 1 with an exclamation point. Domination in those final fights. The better team in the 5v5, absolutely. TES had a strong early game, but couldn't find the correct targets in those 5v5s. It never felt like they were able to really pressure Zeka or pressure Viper. They were always hitting frontliners. And Peanut got a fantastic early lead, was able to help really snowball this game. Delight was everywhere early on, and the carries were stalwart. We are heading to a break, but don't go anywhere. TES versus HLE.